Hey everyone, it's Leslie Hassler here from Your Biz Rules Business Coaching, and we're coaching from the carpool. Happy Thursday. I don't know if you caught my celebration silliness earlier today. Somebody posted that I looked like I was working out. Well, I was kind of working out, but I like working out, so that's kind of one of the I like it and I don't like it, I'm going to be honest. But it is a way, a reward that I give myself in my business is the ability to work out after my kids go to school. And so if I'm going to do that, I want to have fun, and it was dancing. So if you caught the dancing, it was not the best dancing in the world, but that's okay. I'm definitely backup dancer quality, not lead dancer quality. This whole week, we've been talking about disaster recovery. And I was inspired to share this message this week because I'm from Houston. I've lived in Houston well over half of my life. I've been through some hurricanes, and the last hurricane I was through was Hurricane Ike in 2008. And it really did some damage to my business. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what to do. I didn't do what I needed to do. And I struggled like for 2.5 years. A recession hit during that time, so a lot of factors happened. But here's what I learned on that, going through that whole process, is that it is possible to disaster-proof your business. It's possible to recession-proof your business. But you don't really know you need to do it until you actually have an event like Harvey. So that's what I'm talking about this week, is really how to recover your small business from an event like Harvey. Now, I work primarily with service-based businesses across industry. So when I do share things up here, I always try to give specific examples, ways to make it tangible. One of my skill sets is individualism. And so I do have the way of making really broad concepts more practical and tactical for people in their own individual circumstance. So with that, I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to tell me what it is you do. I only can serve you better if I know that information. And if we were in a room and I was speaking, I would be chatting with as many people as I can to find out that information. That makes just what I share so much more powerful. So far this week, what have we talked about? We've talked about the hard things of you got to look at cash, right? You need an understanding of what your cash position is. Not always fun. And then we kind of two-pronged that with really paying it forward and taking care of clients. Has the benefit of being goodwill, of caring about your community, but it's also good karma. And good karma pays off in business, and right now we need every little bit help. Yesterday we talked about grief and the role of grief in this process. I think for people that aren't business owners, it may seem weird to grieve over business, but it is a baby. It is a creation. It is an extension of the business owner. While you're at, I know SBA's definition of small businesses, variety of definitions, 10 employees or less, 7 million in revenues. Well, that's a really big business for a lot of businesses. So for a lot of service-based businesses, it is about the business owner. So it's an extension. And so grief is actually very natural. And so yesterday I encouraged you to grieve. I encouraged you to say goodbye to what was, because today's a new day. And that's the exciting part of life, and having, God give us the ability to create like nothing else on this planet can create. So we're going to use that to our advantage today. That's what today is about, is really about creation. Sometimes I think I'm an opportunistic person, and I think opportunistic has such a negative connotation in some circles, but it's really that I see opportunity. And most business owners do, and which is why we needed to get over the grief part and deal with grief yesterday, because today is about opportunity, and we're going to look at opportunity in a few ways. The number one way I want you to think about this is think about short-term cash. All right, you've looked at your cash position. It's probably not pretty. It usually isn't. If you're in recovery mode, it's usually not pretty. We need to look at filling a cash gap. And I talk about this with people all the time. And these are going to be short-term things, right? Like short-term, 90-day, 60-day, 30-day, short-term things. that fill the bucket, that just provide enough oxygen, enough fuel, enough cash to keep the business, I won't say thriving, but surviving, right? They are, what I want you to do is really be a little out of the box with this, and be willing to do something that maybe isn't normally in that lane of your business. And I always feel like this is a dichotomy of business, right? I feel like what I'm about to say is very dichotomous to what I would normally say. There's value in being focused. There's value in staying in your lane. There's value in niching. But there's also value when you need cash of doing these little bridge jobs, okay? Bridge jobs, cash gap, think of it that way. So we're looking for things that have a very finite, very defined scope that bring in cash. Let me give you a case in point. So September, about a month ago, I went and did back of room sales for a conference. That was a cash gap maneuver. And the reason why it was a cash gap maneuver is because I had some big investments I wanted to make this month. In fact, I just got out of a 3-hour onboarding with my new operational maven, Katie Takioka. We had a great conversation. Did not stop talking for 3 hours, just downloading all the things that I'm working on and where the vision of this company would be. Because I know what that long-term vision is, I know that I will take my eye off the other balls. And so I will be creating a cash gap in my business next 60 to 90 days. So in doing and preparing for that, I did a bridge job, right, to earn short-term cash for a finite period of time to fill a gap that I was creating in my business by doing bigger vision things that take a little bit longer, they're longer strategy. There's got to be, and I really believe this, you may not want to do it. Okay, this is not about wanting to do anything. You should be wanting to save your business more than you don't want to do something else. So it's not necessarily about want, but you've got skills. You do. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're sales. I don't know if they're construction. I don't know if they're content development. I don't know if it's marketing. I don't know what your skills are, but you've got them. That's why you're here. That's why you're an entrepreneur, okay? So you can't tell me that you don't, because you have a business. So you've learned how to be a jack of all trades. You've got skills. What short-term opportunities can you use to bridge that gap? For some people, you might be going and getting a job. I don't know. Retail season's coming up. I don't know. Is that feasible for you? Maybe if you're a numbers person, you could be doing some of the gobbledygook that other people don't want to do, but it would build short-term cash. Okay, so it's gonna take away a little bit from your business, right? But the name of the game right now is cash. And sometimes the easiest things to fill short-term goals is cash gaps. Okay, cash gap, bridge jobs. So that's number one thing I want you to be looking for right now is the opportunities to do that. You might have to shake a few trees. You might not have been used to this before. So you might be calling on other people. And I think that's where a huge opportunity lies. I want you really to look at your business. I say this a lot, and I'm not even going to claim this quote, even though I've said it enough, I probably could. I had a guest on one of my podcast shows, and she talked about gone are the days when you can be successful in the silo. I want you to write that out for yourself. Gone are the days when you can be successful in a silo. If you were to look at, just think about maybe the top 5 businesses around you that are complementary. It makes sense that you're a partner. I mean, your client's their client, that kind of a thing. Who you could come together in this time to do something a little out of the box, a little unheard of, a little something that if you were both busy with your businesses, you could never make time to do, but could generate some cash for both of you. Maybe it's a win-win situation where you're paying it forward. You see an opportunity, you see a problem that you could answer. You've got the resources to be able to do it right now, but maybe you need a partner to help you do it. What would those opportunities be? I really encourage you to be getting out in your community to call 5 other business owners and just say, how are we making cash today? Because there's value. I mean, that's one reason why I run a mastermind. There's value in having like-minded people sit together and all pour into a problem, okay? Create that for yourself. Chances are, if you've been successful up to now, you've probably been lax in those relationships. Start calling. Get on the phone and find the opportunity. I truly believe, and this is only coming from working with so many businesses over the last few years, what you need is at your fingertips. It's just that you've gotten so used to it being at your fingertips that you don't give it full weight or full value. All right, so I'm asking you to put on a fresh eyes, put on a different set of glasses. Like we said goodbye to what was yesterday. We're trying to look for what can be next. All right, so look for those opportunities. The third thing I'm going to leave you with today is really, I can hear the thoughts. Like I can hear them of all the reasons why it won't work. All the reasons. We're so good at finding out all the reasons that something cannot work. Let's use that to our advantage today. All right, instead of it keeping us from doing or earning money or serving our clients or finding business in a new way, let's turn it on its head. I'm going to challenge you. For every I can't, it won't, it never, that doesn't happen, turn it around to a positive statement and ask yourself to fill in the blank. So turn it to positive, put because or how, by, something, and fill in the blank. One of the posts when I talked about doing this series this week is somebody talked about all the therapists in Houston. My husband is very closely related to the therapist because he's in O&P, so he's orthotics and prosthetics, and they work with a lot of PTs and OTs and things like that, and kind of mutually having relationships with their patients. Did you this is like so good. I love this example. So a natural partnership, right? If you're a therapist, a physical therapist, let's say, or an occupational therapist, or a speech therapist, I don't care. You've got natural partners, right? It's calling these people. And let's say you can't get into your location. Could you have an office? Is there a business that would be willing to give you a treatment room for the next month so that you could see your patients? Your patients can't get to you. Can you get to your patients? Where are they? How could you make that easier? Yes, it may not be something that's long-term sustainable. We are talking about short-term. On Tuesday, I talked about this 90-day plan. There's a reason for the 90-day plan because things are going to shift so quickly that you need to be able to shift with it. The other reason for the 90-day plan, just like this, it may logistically not be efficient, let's say, right? You going to your patient may not be the most efficient thing you could be doing right now, but it is something you could be doing right now, right? If you've got to see the patients in order to get the income or the insurance reimbursements and all that nice fun stuff. There's options there. Okay, so I just need you to start taking all the can't statements, the won't work statements, and making them positive, and then filling in the blank to what you would have to make happen to make that come true. Look back to your partners. I mean, now's the best time. The amount of collaboration, cooperation, resources, connecting. I mean, the amount that I'm seeing on Facebook alone is tremendous. Don't try to do this alone. Raise your hand. Tell somebody you need help. Ask for help. Okay? It's okay. It's good. It'll be fine. You're not in it alone, and I want, that's really why I'm driving home this week, is that you're not in it alone. I've been there myself, working on trying to make sure you're good, that you're going to be around in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, 5, 10. Be part of that top 4% that make it to 10 years in business. That's a good day. The last resort that I will say is there are financing options. Some at no cost, some at low cost, some in inventive crowdsourcing ways. If you find that that's your best alternative, I'm always shy to say go for debt. I think it's a much larger business strategy. Most small businesses don't have the financial capital and predictability to take that risk. But if you need it now's the time. Okay? If financing is such that you don't see a way to rewrite the rules of the business and making money, of getting your business to work in a new way, because guess what? This is a gift. This is such a gift. It may not feel like a gift, but it's a gift to really change some things in your business, to really shift away from things that haven't been serving you in your business and shift towards things that do serve. It's going to take a little bit of juggling in the meantime to get all these balls rolling again. You're going to have to create momentum where there isn't momentum. So I want you to look at that. If financing, if loans, if crowdsourcing is the way for you to go, then let's start looking at those resources. If you need some resources, I know there was an article that your small business development councils. I was seeing one of Karen Sharp, Alpha Lone Star College, was posting financial options too. There is some things that FEMA will be willing to do. There are ways. You're just going to have to be a little innovative in how you create these ways. Maybe you sell a t-shirt. I don't know. I just don't want you to discredit small examples and silly ideas and simple ideas, because those are easy to implement and they get cash in the door. And that's what we're looking for, right? So that's it for today, guys. I do hope you're doing well. I am still working on trying to come into Houston and doing a one-day workshop where we can actually get more tangible results for you. And that's doing that as a free or very, very low cost type of thing, so that I'm impacting businesses. And that's what all this week is about, is impacting small businesses in disaster-ridden areas. So if you're along the Gulf Coast, upcoming in Florida, if you see this and you thought there was something of value, I'd love to share. Just share it. Let's spread the word as much as we can. So that's it. Kids will be coming out here soon in sunny Dallas, Texas. I am Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules, and this has been Coaching from the Carpool. Have a great afternoon, guys.